For more than 20 years, CTV has captured the moments that matter in our community. From our studios in St. Clair, you're watching Focus with Paul Dingeman.
Well, hello again. Last week we had the opportunity of having Police Chief Tim Raker here, and he was talking about the roads of Kearney Drive in front of St. Clair City Hall and down to the dealerships at the corner of Fred Moore. And that work was going to be starting April 17th or so. We have the opportunity today to have the Chairman of the Board of Commissioners, Mr. Jeff Bohm, joining us. Mr. Bohm, nice to see you. Welcome back to the Focus Show. And you are going to talk to us today about the thing that people have been hearing about but are confused about and really need some input and information about, and that's 26-mile road corridor. We got to have you come in and what's going on?
So confused and a lot of bad information on
yeah,
the street.
Right.
That's
right.
usually, and trust me, don't believe everything that you read on Facebook.
Right, Facebook is a wonderful thing, but sometimes there's some bad things. So
yeah, no.
Let's try and talk about it and clear it up.
So we started roughly 2 years ago in conversations about the 26-mile road corridor. And what we found out, and we so often, and I know I refer to it a lot, the Magna plant, but I use the Magna plant as an example all the time in my illustrations because it's the example on why we're looking at doing some of these things along the 26-mile road corridor. If the next large user of a Magna-like plant, which was 105 acres, came to St. Clair County tomorrow, and if Dan Casey was sitting here next to me, he would tell you the same thing, we have nowhere to put them.
Oh, okay.
We do not have large available tracts of land that have water, sewer, power, and always called ready to go sites. And if you turn the clock back when the Magna plant came, phase one, 340,000 square feet. It was a 10.5-month turnaround, that plant. That was a cornfield. 10.5 months later, it's up, operational, functioning, so on and so forth. Everybody now is familiar with the expansion that is happening. That's going to push that building to 1.1 million square feet with 1,200 jobs. 1,200 really good jobs.
Yep.
And so it pains me, to be quite honest, as a county board chairman, to think that we do not have an opportunity to go out and chase that next thing. You know, and people, 40% of our residents leave St. Clair County from
40%.
40%. Yeah, not the. I don't want to use McDonald's as a job, but some of the kids' jobs. But as far as the livable heads of households, 40% of those people are driving from St. Clair County. Then people will say, well, they drive because of the quality of life, and that you're willing to do that. I get that, but on the same
they like to live here.
They would love.
And they would also.
My
like
wife works in the Utica school system. She drives every day. Why does she drive every day? Because she makes $20,000 more a year doing her job there than she would over here. Mm-hmm. My wife would rather have a good job in St. Clair close to home.
Right.
I think if you ask anybody, if you had an opportunity to live close to home and work and everything, that they would like that. So that's kind of what is the motivation for myself. When we did the State of the County this year, you remember we had the three young kids that were in. One of them talked about she never thought that she would get an opportunity to be able to work in her hometown because there wouldn't be a degree. Haley Dragishano. She was living downtown. She was driving, so on and so forth. Magna brought that opportunity to be able to bring that young kid home. She's 24 years old. Loves St. Clair, and you heard it. It was life-changing for her. So when we're talking about jobs, and we also, I think you have to look at, and I don't want to say, bad jobs, good jobs, but higher tier types of employment, engineering types, a couple of those other kids that we had in. So they don't even live in this area, and we were able to track some of the youth. So one of the focus is traction, how do you bring people home? How do you build out good communities? And it's all based on jobs and tax base. Period. So when we started talking the 26-mile road corridor 2 years ago, we went and approached the different townships down there. You've got Cotterville, China, Casco, and you have Ira Township. We went to them, passed 5-2 in China. It was 7-0, 7-0, 7-0. Would you like to look at this corridor study? And part of the corridor study, if you look at it, a lot of it still remains very rural. This isn't, I hear the 23-mile or, oh my God, we're going to be the next haul road. That's not the intent of looking at 26-mile road. The intent is to hopefully to be able to open up some larger tracts of land to be able to get the next, call it Magna, call it whomever, you know. In my mind, if we can get 2 or 3 good sized plants down there and good employment base, my job's done. I'm not looking to turn this into the next haul road. Let's be very clear about that. So then when we started talking about cost, if you can pull that sewer plan up that we have.
Yeah, you can pull up the map now, there you
Yeah,
go.
so the map, I know if you're looking from home, it kind of looks a little confusing.
If
but
they can zoom in a little bit.
that is
map there.
actually, that focuses on, when you look at phase
That's
1,
good.
phase 2, different portions of this project, we just put it in phases for the sake of being able to look at what it actually costs to do different portions of this work.
So to the left on the screen is County Line Road.
County Line Road, correct.
And you come across, as you're coming across, the first road down is Meldrum. The first short one coming down
Yeah,
is Meldrum,
blue
and
line,
then
and
the
then
big
you-
one coming down is
to Palms.
Palms.
And that's really the area that we're focused on right now, and even a little bit less than what that map shows. So there again, that is illustrative for the sake of being able to cost out different portions of it. I have, you know, it costs X amount of dollars to run sewer and water from here to there, you know, X amount from sewer to water, so on and so forth. So when you look at it, it shows it all the way to Starville Road, but that's not even in the initial planning phases. It was purely to run cost estimates to see what this actually would cost. So when you look at this map,
So then, does it eventually, the 26-mile road plan, does it go from Starville to King Road?
So when you look at the corridor plan,
Corridor plan.
yeah, it actually looks at the entire corridor, but it did not cover water, sewer, you know, those types of things.
Oh, okay.
In that part of it. Like I said, that thing's
So
still
you
gonna
got a bunch
remain.
of plans going.
Well, a bunch of, we look at the whole,
Studies.
you look at the whole thing comprehensively, you look at the whole stretch, where possibilities for development, you know, so on and so forth. The first phase that we are focused on is the engineering piece of the plan. Engineering doesn't go bad, but engineering for something of this magnitude take you about a year to do it.
Okay.
So, and I want to reiterate, Ira Township is the one that is the owner of this water, sewer, so on and so forth. The county is helping to assist them with some monies to be able to, get some of the engineering done, which would take a year for you to be able to do it. Also, then there's pieces that when we look at the phase 1 piece, all the sewer actually has to come back to Palms Road and down. So at the end of M29 Palms Road, that's
Can you
where
throw
the,
that map up again, Ben?
yeah, that's where the interceptor. So if you look at the very bottom of the map where it meets the water, Palms Road is that heavy red line that runs down
Yep,
kind of in the middle
right
of the
in there,
page.
right.
That's where the sewage would have to come to. Then that's where the interceptor. Then
So
that's where
there's a
those
sewage treatment plant?
it's further away, but
Yeah.
that's where it's got to dump into. It's got to get lift station, force main,
Right.
so on and so forth. So the first phase of this, engineering would be the first piece of it. Engineering, you know.
Let me stop you there. Come back to us for a second, Ben. So I'm confused on, there's too many 26-mile road studies and stuff. Is this first segment, first phase, a total project or a thought of Ira Township?
Yeah, we've been.
And then you're going to come and support it?
Yes, this is Ira
So
Township.
it's not the county coming in and saying you're going to do this?
No, not at all.
It's
not
the other
at
way
all,
around?
Not at all. And the other thing
Oh,
people
okay.
have to understand is the residents aren't going to, you don't have to hook up to this. A lot of times when you put water and sewer, they special assess you. There is no cost to the residents on this
Okay.
at all.
Okay.
So, you know.
Wow.
Well, eventually, like I tell everybody, and this isn't part of the narrative, you're going to be pretty darn happy if your septic field ever fails.
Yeah.
And you've got city sewer and water out in front
Right.
of your house.
Right.
It gives you an option, but that's not really the driving factor. So looking at, like I said, engineering, everything takes about a year. If we can get some of the monies, we have been working with our state and federal people for some additional earmarks to assist in this project. We will know more at the end of the year if there's some assistance there.
End of 2023?
End of 2023, yes, with congressional earmarks, whether you like them or hate them or whatever, and so be it, you know. But the piece that I would be focused on would be running the sewer down Palms Road and stopping it at 26 Mile Road.
So you'd
So-
run it from 29 M29 in
To
Ira
Yep,
north to 26 Mile Road.
3.5 miles, and then it would stop.
And that would be the first project.
Yep, then it would stop. Then really the other pieces of it, originally we were talking 15, 20 million, putting all the water and putting all the sewer. And I want to be clear that we are really focusing on some industrial users, a larger company
Yep,
that can provide a lot of jobs. And so if that development were to happen to the left, if it were eventually to happen to the right, you actually have the companies. There's a tax capture method. I'm not going to bore you with it. It's called the Next Michigan Development Corporation, LDFA. Everything's alphabet soup when you're in government. But so the companies, if it built, so for example, I'll go back to my Magna example. The city of St. Clair had to do, they're putting a water tower in, they're looping the service, they're probably putting $6 to $8 million in improvements that was necessary, A, for Magna, but necessary for, everybody knows water pressure is horrible at the north end, everybody, water capacity, so on and so forth. But that Magna plant generates $1.5 million a year in capturability for the city of St. Clair. In taxes. That's phase 2 that is able to offset those infrastructure improvements. So ultimately, if you can land a company, they become the ones that are putting the water and sewer, paying for it, to put that in. So it's engineering 1 year. Want to get going on that. Ira Township has requests for proposals in the works right now for that. I'd imagine in the next 30 to 60 days they'll have something. They will come up with a number. Then we as a board will decide to look at moving forward with that.
And you would support them financially?
Yeah, I mean, I have other board members I have to. We're still talking, right. We have $23 million in ARPA funds. And there's different things that we're looking at doing, but I have always been very big on getting some different tracts of land available for
right.
for development, right. Because when we cannot, I just know what good things are going to come out of 1,200 people working, 1,200 good jobs. We've already seen opportunities, and so if we can get a couple more of those opportunities in St. Clair County, it'll change the face. And there's people that, I'll get the you're going to have to bring people in from Macomb County for the work. Yeah, we're going to have to.
That'd be great.
Which is great, because if you need the engineering, the technical, and the locals they'll get first crack at it. I mean, if they can apply and get the job, so be it. But the Macomb County workforce, and that's why we're able to land some of these projects, because of the Macomb County workforce. There again, remember, 40% of our people are driving outside the area, and I think if you talk to 38% of them, they would, if they could find that same job. I mean, why are they traveling? Because
right.
jobs are
They're looking for money.
More money, period. So yeah, bring a good paying job that would be equal to where somebody would be able to make that money somewhere else, and you'll have people.
Phase 1 is basically sewer
line,
and it comes dead end up at 26 Mile Road.
Yeah.
So the conversations we've had in Facebook and in the newspapers about a new road here, and that's not in any of this plan.
So no. So we've talked a lot about a lot of different things. This is what we're narrowed in on now. This is what our focus. There again, engineering.
One step at a time.
Engineering, very first phase. We will know more by the end of the year if there's any support, through earmarks, through some appropriation statewide. We have talked to all of our people. They understand what we're looking to do. That decision then would be made end of the year kind of stuff. If we're going to spend ARPA dollars, they have to be allocated by the end of 2024.
Are you losing?
With a project. There'll be projects, trust me, that I hate to say that money will get spent. Right. But the scope of this project is not 14, 15, 20 million. Right now it's $1 million. Phase 2 could be somewhere around 7. Let's say this whole project would be $8 million. We do have an earmark in for $5 million from Peter Stavanaugh McLean's office, some other things. So I'm pretty confident we can get the cost to get this thing off the ground relatively inexpensive. Like I said, there's some people, I get it, they don't want change. They want to keep it rural. They want to continue to do that. But if you look at that corridor corridor's changing. You know, it's the old.
It's going to change whether we want it or not.
You either manage it through
Right.
zoning and different things. If you control it. If you don't control it, it controls you. Okay.
Yep.
And so I'm not being a proponent of the next Hall Road. I'm not being, you know.
Right.
I am a proponent of a couple nice, good employment, you know, areas. When you sit with these companies, generally what happens is the Michigan Economic Development Corporation will reach out to St. Clair County. They'll submit a project, and they'll say, "Do you have any land that you can submit for this project?" We are currently shortlisted on a really big project on that 26-mile road corridor right now. I mean, we are like right there to the finish line, which is another, you know, Magna-like, I'll use that term, project, which is, you know, it's 450 good jobs in phase one. Now, you see the list of these jobs, and I'm talking good jobs. These are six-figure jobs. These aren't, you've been in that Magna plant.
Yeah.
I mean, you can eat all the floors. I mean, it's
Yeah.
heavy, computer, so on and so forth. So if anybody's gonna accuse me of anything, accuse me of trying to hopefully put St. Clair County in a better spot to land some of these employment
So,
centers.
as the public, you want us to what? Stand by? Can be alert?
As the public, I mean, obviously we've got some people that aren't in favor of it. They don't want anything. But it was really, I wanted to get on here today just to clear the air, because when you read all these different things, Jeff Bohm does not own any property on 26 Mile Road, just for all the conspiracy theorists that are out there. I've seen that one. I've been accused of that, right? I can assure you. And to Dave Vandenbosch, who's on my board, does own a piece, but this isn't even close to his piece. He's on the other end.
No, he's
of the
over
corridor.
in Marine City area.
Yeah, he's 3
Casco.
he's 3 miles from know wherever. I mean, so when I hear that about him having self-interest in that,
Yeah,
that
this
I
is
don't
only a mile or so in from County Line Road.
boy, that whole stretch is 11. That's 3. It's probably 3, maybe 4
Maybe
miles.
3 miles.
In the first part of the first part of it, where you have Consumers Power, you do have a little bit of sewer capacity at the western end that can pick up some of the industrial property. But as I said, as you expand this corridor, everything has to come to Palms Road, and everything has to go south.
Okay.
And we've gotten tremendous amount of support from the business community along there. I know I've got 25, if not 30 letters. They're on well and septic. I mean, if you've got those businesses, a lot of them are on well and septic.
Chartier, that guy. and
Bunches of them are on well and
bunches of them.
septic
Really?
over there. Yeah, so I
So
would
they'll
say
be happy.
It'd be. I know. I'd rather have
So is
water
there-
and sewer
there-
in front of my
can you throw the
business.
map up again for 1 second? From the west end of the corridor by County Line Road, is there sewer to Meldrum? From
No.
there's nothing?
No, the
little-
sewer actually
that's water.
runs
Here's a little bit.
Beath away.
It runs north and south.
Yes, it stops right at that. It's right at that corner there. So there's.
Okay. There's
I know the
nothing.
maps look. Yeah, there's current, there's existing, they're present. So, and there's
Okay.
sufficient capacity too. So you put this water and sewer and you do these different things. There's about 450,000 gallons of capacity, which isn't a ton, but it's not bad. It all depends on the user. So if you're talking about, heavy water users, those types of things, then you have to look at some treatment facility options and some of those other things. So it's all part of development. I think if you talk
But-
to people,
The basic thing for you and me today is that there's a possibility of phase 1 and phase 2, not any improvement to the road at this point on 26 Mile Road, but an opportunity to get a new sewer line down Palms Road from the Lake St. Clair up to 26 Mile Road. It's probably a better way
the
to.
engineering step 1, call it phase 2 would
So
be.
it's early.
It's very early. It's very, Paul, these are long-term plays on these corridors. This thing is not going to, if you think it's going to develop in 2 years from now and be the next Hall Road,
Right.
you're wishful thinking. You know,
Right.
I mean, these are 20, 30, 40. These are times. And
But you got to do it now.
to be quite honest, we have the money and support. Some of these ARPA funds, whether you like them or hate them or whatever, and you can debate it all you want. But
Okay.
this is an opportunity to get some water and sewer and do some other things.
Wonderful stuff.
Otherwise, I hate to say what I'm afraid of is if these dollars, if they get spent in other areas that don't have an impact, like I said, this opens up opportunities in the southern end of the county for employment centers. So if you're going to...
Well, I happen to cover the Cotterville Township meetings, and I see those people there are coming in and requesting water. They're requesting sewer. The new families that are moving in, the families that have been there, they're very interested in water and sewer. So this has got to be a top priority.
You got a failing well. I mean, I know Ira did some stuff years ago because a lot of those people, you just couldn't drink the water, and a lot of the other issues, that go along with it.
And women and mothers and families saying, I got to replace my washing machine every 2 or 3 years.
It's
interesting.
It's interesting. Obviously I pay attention and see the stuff, and I always tell everybody, you think I was putting a nuclear dump in on 26 Mile? We're talking water and sewer.
Yeah. Water and sewer. Jeff, thank you for what
I
you're doing.
appreciate you giving me an opportunity to come in here and just so people can understand it, because I'm doing this presentation again on Monday to a group of the antis, the development piece, to try to kind of clear the air so you can hear straight from the horse's mouth what we're working on and that stuff. So, Paul, thank you.
Always a pleasure, sir. I'm going to keep this map. Good stuff.
Put you to sleep at night.
Well, now 2 weeks in a row we've been talking about sewers and roads and water and stuff. Hope to try and keep you informed, folks. Thanks very much for tuning in. Till next week, I'm Paul Dingeman. See you soon.
Thanks for watching Focus with Paul Dingeman. Focus is produced at the CTV Community Television Studios in St. Clair. For over 20 years, CTV has captured the moments that matter to our community.